Thank you for making the long trip.
From how far?
From Alaska.
From Alaska, people. We have an Alaskan farmer on the podcast today.
It gets hot in the summer. Like, it can be 90
And the days are long.
And the days are long, yeah.
How long?
It doesn't get dark from the beginning.
That's pretty long. Yeah. And at that point, you had read The Market Gardener.
Yeah.
So you knew that the book would advise to do not that.
Oh, yeah. I'm not always great at taking advice.
You said, I'm going to crack the code anyway. You're making more money than, I would say, 95% of all farms out there.
I think the reason this works is that our labor costs are so low. We were spending a little over $7,000.
Do you get pushback when you share these numbers? Are people saying, yeah, but you could do all of this so faster on a tractor?
Reminds me of getting a boat. Like a friend told me boat stands for bring out another 1,000. And I kind of feel the same way about tractors. I want more people doing this. Like in Fairbanks right now, I have a monopoly. I don't know. There's a level of responsibility that I feel, and I feel bad that I can't meet the needs of my community. The stores want my stuff. The schools want my stuff, but I don't have enough. And I have to tell people no.
Somebody else is going to come in.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's why I wrote this.
Welcome to the Market Gardener podcast, where we believe that small-scale farming is changing the world. Join us for insightful conversations with people who are working to build a better future. A future with less mass production and more production by the masses. The revolution is in the field. Let's get digging. This episode is brought to you by Dubois Agronovation. We're on, yeah. I'm flipping your book, Sam. And I haven't seen it in a while. And we met each other, was it last year at a winter conference?
Yeah, I think it was Marble Seed.
It was Marble Seed. And then I invited you to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then here you are.
Here I am, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for making the long trip.
From how far?
From Alaska.
From Alaska, people. We have an Alaskan farmer on the podcast today. And I think a lot of people have I don't know if the word is romantic, but just some sort of view of Alaska that it's Alaska.
It's the last frontier, for sure.
Yeah, actually, there's a really good book about Haimo Korth, or is that his name? Have you ever read that? The Last Frontiersman? A guy, he was one of the last people to have the Homestead Act or whatever that. His name is Haimo.
I'll have to check it out.
Incredible book about.
Did his homestead get eaten by a national park or something?
I don't know what's happened by now, but great book. Anyway, so welcome Sam Knapp to the podcast.
Thank you.
You are the author of Beyond the Root Cellar.
Mm-hmm.
The Market Gardener's Guide to Growing and Storing Vegetables for Off-Season Sales and Food Security.
Good job on it. The
Thank you.
The blurb that I gave, you can read it. Overflowing with invaluable tips and innovative strategies, this guide goes beyond the typical fast crop seen in all growers in most market gardens. I encourage all growers to study it and level up their farming game. Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I very personally, and I think more so than just personal, find this topic super interesting. And I want to open the table with this kind of gaping hole in the local food system. And you introduce it well in your book with a quote I'm going to read from your book. You're speaking on the lack of local products in stores in the wintertime. And you say, in my opinion, this is why many people are skeptical and even resistant about the role of local foods in the food system. If local farms cannot supply their communities with food through the winter, then local products are relegated to the role of seasonal treats rather than trustworthy staples. And I think that sums it perfectly. Like, anyone that's gotten serious about trying to eat local, like actually doing it, not just having an occasional 100 calories out of their daily caloric intake come from a local farm, but like really say, screw the industrial food system, I want to feed myself locally, or they try to grow it themselves. One of the most major gaping holes in accomplishing that is going to be the wintertime. Because all over the place, people that are major locavores, they do it well in the summer.
And then they go off.
They're crushing it. And then suddenly, and not just the winter, I mean, practically for a lot of people, it's November all the way to
June.
Through May.
Yeah, until everything comes on in the
And
spring.
if you're someone that prides yourself on eating locally or think it's important or wants to be a champion of this as a movement, that should be something that irks us, bothers us. And you've come in essentially with a solution. and are doing it.
It's not a new solution, but
No.
it's a revisited solution, like root crops.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I mean, though. It's kind of funny that it's a solution because it's sort of an obvious thing, but not. So anyway, I wanted to open by setting the table with that idea and then ask you, can you make us the case then for why a winter storage farm?
Making the case for why a winter storage farm. Well, I mean, we just talked about the local food angle. It's kind of obvious, right? It's to me, it's the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
In what we as a local food and small growers movement can do. And I guess I'm finding that it works financially. Which is
there's
like
there's a
important part.
spreadsheet on the board right now. I guess Chris, you put that up because that's part of your angle is that you're also you're sharing tips and tricks about how to grow these root crops year round in the winter, how to store them, but there's also the economics behind it that you're really open about.
Yeah, and I think it's important to be really open about that.
Why do you think that?
Well, I mean, people need to see that, this isn't just pie in the sky, that you can make a living doing this. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're not a pie in the sky guy, is what I gather. You're an academic, for one.
Yeah.
Someone that's clearly smart and thoughtful. And I think there are maybe part of that skepticism about local comes from a lot of people interacting with people that feel a little bit pie in the sky and like, well, are you really saying the truth when you're talking about, what you're preaching or are you hyperbolizing? But you're a pretty straight shooter.
I think I'm projecting because I started as pie in the sky when I first decided like I'm going to be a farmer.
Yeah.
I was really idealistic
Yeah.
and the world just kind of beats you down after a while. And the reason you keep doing it is because you like it and you think it's important. Yeah.
I like that.
Before we bounce back into all the winter farming and storage farming, the educational aspect, because I think people listening are for sure going to want to learn something about it. But I want to understand a little bit more about how you ended up in this place. And I noticed listening to a podcast, I think, that your farming journey started similarly to my own in the sense that it began with a simple question to a farming couple of just, can I come and help out? And I actually think that's fairly profound because at the moment that anyone does that, it feels like nothing. And yet I think it was a pivot point for you. Could you take us back to that and explain? That was in Sweden.
That was in
as far as I
Sweden,
understand. Yeah. And like, how did what transpired from that end up changing you? Can you explain some of that?
Yeah, I think that experience was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back.
Nice.
For me. I was just out of college. I was starting kind of my first job. I was working in front of a computer 40 hours a week, seeing myself, like the future was like, I'm going to live in a city and I'm going to work behind a computer. And
what was the job?
it was like a research position. I wasn't a graduate student. I was like I had a Fulbright grant to work on like renewable energy systems, kind of engineering stuff.
And did you feel very at home in kind of the academia world at that moment in your life?
Did.
Did you feel like you were going to go kind of that route?
Yeah, I was actually enrolled to start a PhD in chemical engineering at Michigan Tech University.
Wow, different life you would have had.
Yeah. I thought, I guess I was an environmentalist. I thought maybe the way that I can change things is I can work on biofuels. And it eventually, I was going to like the university that I went to in central Wisconsin kind of had a cool local food scene. And so I always thought it was cool. And at some point I thought, maybe instead of making the biofuels, I could like grow them. And that was just like a nebulous, whatever. And those thoughts were always kind of percolating in the back of my head. And so then when I was in Sweden, I saw this couple in this little market, and I don't know. I just was not happy with the direction my life was going, I think.
Was it because it was lacking some hands-on,
I'm
making a change, and it's feels like really far away when you're doing research? And
yeah, I mean, like earlier in my life, all my favorite jobs had been hands-on kind of things, and just, feeling this it's like this existential feeling of like, what am I doing? Where am I going? And yeah, so I asked them to volunteer on their farm, and they're like, heck yeah.
In that exact moment that you asked them, do you think it was as simple as basically just, I want to be outside and kind of no more complicated? Just, I just want to spend some time outside.
Yeah. I think farming is cool and I want to be outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, they had like a little like guest cabin. And so I went out there one weekend, had a blast. They were really great people. They had some like immigrant labor. So I remember I was working with this guy from Ghana, and we were just like connecting over harvesting. It was great. And I kept going back, like maybe not every weekend, but every other weekend for the whole winter. I was just there taking
the whole winter.
What were you doing in Sweden?
Well, so I had that job.
Okay, that was in Sweden.
The engineering job.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that's far up. It's like Alaska-ish.
Yeah. I think Alaska's colder.
Is it?
Where I live in Alaska, yeah.
More light, less light? Same?
It's very similar in latitude, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very similar light conditions.
Was there things that surprised you when you went to that farm? Or would you go as far as to say anything mind-blowing? I ask this because the first time I ever encountered a local farm, which really was like a pivot point in my life, I was just mind-blown because I didn't know it existed, and I didn't know that kind of environment and people and thing was even a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, it was so quaint and idealistic. It was this older couple. It wasn't their retirement project, but they had like moved up and started a farm a few years ago, and like that's what they were doing. And so they were like in their late 60s doing this, and they had bit off way more than they should have.
Classic.
Yeah, classic. And like eventually I like my job was going to end in May, and I offered like, can I live with you guys?
Wow.
And work and just like for room and board. And they thought about it and came back and said, yeah.
So then how did a full season of doing that change you?
So I ended up leaving in August. I didn't make quite a full season, but it was a very intense experience.
In a good and bad way, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, definitely went both ways. I think I left feeling a little taken advantage of. I was probably working, 70 or 80 hours a week. And I think like being my really first intense exposure to farm life, it was eye-opening in that like their weed management and a lot of the way that they were doing planting was just like really inefficient and wasn't working. And like, I felt...
You have an engineer mind.
Yeah.
So you're like, you see this.
Well, I mean, like the timing was all wrong. We were like flame
God.
weeding and flame weeding in the wet, like I remember they had this tine rake that somebody had given them the idea to kind of weave a hacksaw blade through the tines, and that would give you like this really wide, sharp surface. And so I was hacking at the furrows, because it was all tractor planted, tractor planted furrows. I was like hacking at the sides of the furrows of the beets, and the lamb's quarter was like thick like a lawn, and you just felt like, oh my God,
There's nothing worse, Sam, than a young kid coming to a farm thinking this is all wrong, and that's the worst thing on the farm. But it's it was probably true. You had a first feeling of it. It's like, whoa, man, this is off.
I mean, in other ways, it was very profound because like the greenhouse was heated with a wood stove.
Actually, my first farm too, the very first greenhouse was wood stove heated when I first arrived. Then by the second year, it changed, but. Yeah, I mean, I had that experience as well.
And the land lightly sloped down to this river in the back, and there was a sauna right by the river with like a little dock out. And so we would always, go take a sauna after a hard day of work and jump in the river. It just felt like this is the life.
Yeah.
You could see that there's a magic even in spite of the fact that they're also doing things really inefficiently. And but that's, indicative of what was to come for you, because clearly you saw the pull and the draw, but you also saw...
this can suck.
And you saw that, this will suck unless...
Yeah.
I get, really intelligent about systems, right? And
totally,
and think through and be kind of analytical. And, I mean, that is the number one hallmark of like good market gardening, whether it's storage farm or not, is like carefully thought out systems, not just shooting the wind, because then we know what happens.
Not just hard work.
And not just hard work, yeah.
No, it feels like you're throwing yourself against a wall, you know?
Yeah, and like,
Thank you.
it's a bit sad that sometimes there's so many examples of people that kind of never quite notice and just burn out and stop.
It's funny that you mentioned the sauna, because two things. On my farm, we have a similar journey also. Like I started on a farm that wasn't quite the first farm I went to, it was working, but the first thing we did on our farm was a sauna. The first building was a sauna. We built a sauna, posts and beam.
Priorities are.
we spent, I think it was $12,000 on a Willie Lemaitre did the sauna. Like it was really.
Oh, it was really?
Oh yeah, it was really nice.
didn't know
And for me, like it was the first thing we wanted was a sauna, and because when I went to Elliot Coleman, that's the first thing he showed me. He said, you know, before I show you the farm, let's go hop in, and then it's like you butt naked in the sauna, and that's it.
Did you not have running water yet?
We had running water because we had an old barn, so there was
okay.
running, but we had to renovate the barn and everything. But sauna and farming, you know,
No, it's good.
they're tied. There's a whole history of. It would be good to have a book about people's farms sauna, and just that,
coffee
like,
table.
and it would be epic. I would love that.
Make it somehow, that's stupid. Make it heat resistant so you can have it in the sauna, and it's sauna reading, like a coffee table book about coffee tables.
I mean, I won't say it's the reason we bought our house and farm location, but it had a sauna.
There you go.
And that was a
I don't
big
have a
motivating
sauna,
factor.
but I have multiple neighbors with saunas.
Yeah. You do
You
this
either,
every
if you don't
Sunday.
have one, you need friends with one.
Yeah. I don't really, one of my closest neighbors has got one, so what
Hey,
do I?
I see a picture of your farm.
Well, this isn't my farm. This is actually the farm I was staying with them in Vermont. This is West Farm
Okay.
in Jeffersonville, Vermont.
On the back of the book.
On the back
Okay.
of the book, yeah.
Why is it on the back of your book?
The publisher makes those decisions.
It's also
Okay.
because you profile a lot
And it's
of
beautiful.
farms, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the fourth part of the book is profiles of 12. How many farms do you profile?
I think 10, but 2 of them are mine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But which is very interesting. So anyway, you had this formative experience in Sweden of all places. So it's kind of no surprise you end up in Alaska, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you not from there?
No, I grew up in Wisconsin.
Oh, you moved to Alaska.
Yeah.
You decided.
I blame my wife.
Okay, so she's from there.
No. We were dating, and when I lived in Sweden, she ended up not being able to come with, and so she took an AmeriCorps position in a fishing village in Alaska. Absolutely fell in love with it.
At the same time you were in Sweden.
Yeah, we were 10.
Just so that you guys could be collectively at the same
Well, it was like,
latitude.
it was like if we're not going to be together, we're going to have like epic adventures at the same time.
Yeah.
That's actually that's a good way to look at
Yeah.
it. Because then you're not getting used to like normal life without
No.
them. You're getting used to this adventure you're on. and then
So you've ended up visiting her there. Is that what happened?
Well, I flew when I left Sweden back to the States. I flew straight to Alaska
Okay.
to meet her there in her fishing village.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then what?
Well, and then she was going to start grad school, and her project entailed going to Fairbanks every summer, and I followed her up the next summer and worked on a farm. That was a much better run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I fell in love with it. I mean, the first time I visited Fairbanks, so when I visited, Danielle is my wife's name.
Okay.
The first time I went to Alaska, we traveled around a bit, and we went to Fairbanks, and I thought, this place sucks. This place is an armpit.
I've heard that, like that, just from like a town
Yeah.
perspective. It's not.
It's not cool.
No. No. If you just go to town, it's not cool.
Yeah.
But if you live there and you get a chance to connect with the community, it's really the people and the area outside the town.
It's probably like very, very northern remote villages. In some ways, they don't always look so nice. Like a lot of the houses are very, very simplistic, but like the community aspect of what happens in those places, I think,
The outdoors.
that's what
Yeah.
totally changes the game. And unfortunately, people sometimes don't look past that. They don't look past their
Yeah.
eyes. But
Well,
you did.
So many people are transplants there that there's a culture of having your friends become your family, which is very important. Yeah.
That's important because it's not always like that, eh?
No,
You can
no,
go
it's
to places where you can be there for like 2 generations and you're still.
Yeah, I mean, we lived in the UP before we moved to Alaska. So when we were in grad school.
What's the UP?
Oh,
Upper
sorry, the
Peninsula.
Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
Alaska light.
It juts into essentially like Canada, kind of, right? With
Yeah.
When you look at the like where the line would go, it feels as if the UP like juts in.
Yeah, and it
Right.
touches at Sault Ste. Marie.
Okay.
But it's very rural, very forested.
Yeah.
But they're the community. It's not like the community is bad. It's just one of those places where
Yeah.
it's hard to crack into.
Yeah. You need to be a local too.
Yeah. I don't remember how. There was a joke about how long you needed to be there in order to be considered a Uber, but it was a while.
You know, that aspect of your like being transplants and that community kind of becoming family is really interesting because it makes me think of the fact that in our modern day, so often the word community has been like allocated to niche interests and online things and like that's the community. Whereas like the original community was simply physical proximity.
Yeah, where you live.
No, it's the people you know. Yeah.
And it's your neighbor because, for all of our life on screens, you can't argue with the physical reality of the world.
Sometimes the power goes out. Sometimes your neighbor's cat
your
gets stuck in a tree.
But like what's interesting is that this place of transplants kind of forces the hand, I guess, of people to like not just be in a kind of a clique of their whatever. I don't know. Like people also that grow up in a place sometimes forget to like re-engage with the community because they kind of get set in like a little pocket of it of just their family and their little niche friends.
I totally agree with that.
You know what I mean? And like there's a bit of a like don't forget like there's a whole bunch of people around you that you might be ignoring.
And I think Fairbanks also has a slight self-selecting aspect. That the type of people who would go there.
Who are the type of people?
Oh, there's a couple different types. I think there's like I want an adventure for my life kind of people, and maybe we fall into that. I also think there's the more libertarian, like don't tread on me crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, there must be that.
And maybe like 25 to 30% of our community is active military. And so there's always like a churn of people who go there and love it and do everything they can to stay.
Yeah. And how do you know how big is that city?
Yeah,
population wise.
The city itself is maybe 50 or 60,000.
Okay, so it's not super big.
No, and the surrounding area, maybe in total, including the city, would be like 70 or 80.
Yeah. And the economy is fishing, is military, is
No. So I don't know if you can see this. This is the Alaska hand.
Okay.
So Fairbanks is like right in the middle.
It's not on the coast.
No, we're like 300 plus miles from the coast. So the main industry is kind of a derivative of the pipeline and the oil industry that happens on the North Slope. And I think, and there's also a big gold mine in town.
Okay.
Like gold is the reason Fairbanks exists.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
How did Fairbanks end up coming to be sort of an epicenter?
It's a strange story with a man wanting to start like a host or a posting inn or something like that, and it was a terrible idea. Nobody told him, or everybody told him that like you couldn't get to that spot, and he convinced some riverboat captain to take him there, and they got stuck and like turned around, and he's just like, well, drop me off here. And so he was marooned in the wilderness for a year in like 1901, and then some other guy struck gold nearby.
Did you read that story?
I did, yeah.
Those stories from that era of like northern
crazy.
explorers are so crazy.
That guy was nuts.
It's always like I was in minus 50 for 15 days with just a wool blanket and 300 pounds of something on my back, and you're just like, what?
I haven't read this book yet, but I know there's a book that details like the 100 years of farming history in the Fairbanks area.
Oh wow!
And I was talking with a farmer friend from Fairbanks, and he was reading this book before he and his wife his wife was from there, moved back. And he's reading about like, the advice, if your jacket is wet, make sure you hang it in the middle of the cabin and not on the wall, because when it's frozen in the morning, at least it won't be stuck to the wall.
This kind of okay. So
Yeah.
okay. So this brings us to now. What is your farm? What is the temperature? What does it feel like? What does it look like? First frost, last frost.
Okay, yeah. So frost dates, they're kind of late for us. It's like mid-September is when we can expect it.
Okay.
The ground should be frozen by like the first or second week of October.
Oh, okay.
It's frozen.
Frozen hard, yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay,
Halloween, it's usually like 10 degrees in Halloween.
Okay. Okay.
So September is your 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Well,
That's
probably
what-
the majority of
That's what,
listeners.
minus 20? Minus 15?
10. Yeah, it's like minus
minus
15, I
15-ish,
think,
yeah.
around there.
That's cold.
Yeah. During the winter time, there's an interesting temperature effect in that area because it's very still, where the valleys get much colder. They call it a temperature inversion. The valleys get much colder, and we are a couple 100 feet off the valley. So this winter was like the longest cold stretch in like 100 years. And the valley spent like 2 weeks around minus 40, minus 50.
I bet.
How was that?
And minus 40.
It's like the same.
Yeah, minus
the
40
same.
is where they cross.
It is minus 40 or is it minus 30?
Minus 40.
It's minus 40
Yep.
where they cross.
Wow. So that's like the car doesn't start.
Unless you're plugged in.
Yeah.
Minus 50 Fahrenheit is like if you're driving a clutch, like the pedal sticks to the floor.
Okay.
It was
But
a
the farm
long
is slightly
winter here too.
Yeah, the farm is slightly warmer than that.
Okay. And the first seeding
Oh, yeah,
outside is when?
I aim to get. So I don't have any tunnels, and I aim to direct seed parsnips by about the 20th of May.
Okay.
And
so
the last frost is like June 1st is when.
Okay. So like us.
Yeah, it's not that
Not
different.
that different,
And
yeah.
it gets hot in the summer. Like it can be 90.
And the days
Fahrenheit.
are long.
And the days are long. Yeah. Never,
How long?
It doesn't get dark from the beginning.
That's pretty long.
From the beginning of May till mid-August, there's no darkness.
So carrots that are like 60 days, 70 days will just kind of be like 50 days, 40 days? No,
because the temp, it can get hot, but it can also be chilly and rainy.
Okay. But the light drives growth. So,
It does. I think it kind of evens out,
okay.
honestly.
Okay, because
Yeah.
the cold comes in
Yeah.
and wow.
Nature's way of equalizing it all. It's like, yeah, you're up north, but give you a longer day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the people listening to the podcast can imagine minus 40 Fahrenheit. Like that's
Well, some people can.
Yeah.
well, that's really cold if you think about it. Like
Yeah.
we were at 20 degrees Celsius, minus 20 this winter,
We
pretty
had
much.
quite a few minus like 24, 25 this
And
year.
people wouldn't go out so much. We were the only one playing hockey. It was just like people kind of stopped going out, and it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that cold stretch, the farm we spent, I think, 2 weeks between minus 25 and minus 30 Celsius. Like, you don't get warmer
There's
than
the
that.
high, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty cold winter,
Yeah.
but we didn't have much in the way of below minus 30. We often have like 1 or 2 days that are minus 34 or something. Not as the high, but as the low.
Yeah.
I think we had a minus 30
Yeah,
or something, but as a low.
It's funny because my wife, she's a hardcore. Is the word ecologist? But she's like, she doesn't want you to start the car
Oh,
before we're ready to go, and when we're, she wants me to stop the car. And when it's cold, I'm like, fuck, I just feel like the car needs to
Yeah.
needs
It
to
needs
run,
some time.
And she's like, no, that's not true. You can, and I'm like, the car is like.
Yeah.
So do you start your car before? What? Tell me about your car.
I mean, and you plug. Everybody has a heater pad,
You have to plug
a
in.
heating pad on your oil pan, your transmission, and then you have a trickle charger on your battery so that it won't freeze.
Yeah, so you plug your car for sure.
Yeah. I'd say like if it's minus 20 or 30 out, you're plugging your car in 3 or 4 hours before you're going to start it, and then you run it 10 minutes before you're going to go anywhere.
Okay.
I actually have plugs on both of our cars because we don't drive that often.
Yeah,
The first winter, we actually experienced like the battery draining dramatically and even once or twice not starting. We're like, oh my God, what? It didn't seem like everyone does that because it's not as cold, but
Yeah, my first winter there, my battery froze solid,
yeah.
and I know that.
So how long
that
ago
it.
was that?
We moved there at the very beginning of 2020.
Okay, so not too long ago.
No, we haven't been there for too long.
And then the farm, you had that in your mind when you moved there, or that happened?
Yeah.
You moved
so
during pandemic,
we moved. We
Or no,
bought our
just before.
Yeah, it was just like
just before.
oh, we were so naive. We had no idea what was
I
coming.
moved to Quebec right before the pandemic, so around the same time you moved to Alaska.
Yeah. I had a small farm in Michigan for 3 years before that.
Okay.
And my wife took a job with the Park Service, or the National Park Service, and I was going there thinking, okay, I'm starting a farm.
Can you the very first sentence of your book, I believe, is something along the lines of sometimes life gives us a conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
You use that word conundrum. Can you explain how you got from Sweden to that Michigan farm and that experience based on this word conundrum?
Oh, yeah. So after Sweden, I moved back with my wife to, we weren't married then. She was starting grad school at the same college that I had intended to start grad school at. But I wasn't going to start then. I was like, okay, I want a farm. But I wasn't really ready yet, and there weren't other farms around to work on. So I took a job at a brewery and a canning factory. And my job was mostly to put 6-pack rings on cans for 8 hours a day. And actually, I remember reading in your book, JM, how you talked about being a tree planter. And like you have these long stretches of time to think about little movements.
Yeah.
I think that was my experience in the canning factory.
You felt that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
saw how it's like small seconds made a difference in the overall.
Because the machine is fast and you need to keep up with it.
The machine drives the
Like the
pace.
conveyor belt.
Yeah. That job was soul sucking. And so after, like what would have been a school year working that, I was like, I have to get out of here. So I took an AmeriCorps position on a reservation in central Wisconsin. And I had like a 1/2 acre plot to do a community garden, like a production garden, and started a farmer's market, or like continued on a farmer's market. It was a wonderful, like, zero risk opportunity just to take some of the things that I had learned and just play. Oh, and I'm skipping a whole summer that I went to Fairbanks and farmed
For a summer. At a functional farm?
At a very functional farm.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very small veggie CSA, and she was kind of starting a dairy on the side at the time. But that was actually the first time that I encountered your book. I was living in an Airstream trailer at the end of the driveway, and like swatting mosquitoes. And
I think that's the 5th time an Airstream has entered the conversation
Yeah.
on the podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Dubois Agronovation, my go-to store for all my market gardening needs. Whether it's irrigation systems, tool, harvest supplies, insect nets, Dubois has you covered, friends. I've been working with Dubois ever since I met Jeanette, the owner, probably 25 years ago. She's been around market gardeners her whole life, and she was the one that helped me out when I started my book, The Market Gardener, many, many years ago. Recently, they've been my partners in setting up the irrigation systems here at the Old Mill, but also at FQT Farm, at La Grelinette, and all my other projects. I've always done my irrigation with Dubois. Listeners of the podcast enjoy a 10% discount on select products by choosing the promo code Masterclass-Jean-Martin Fortier. Go check out Dubois at duboisag.com. Thank you, Dubois, for everything you do for the market gardening community. You guys rock.
She was. Her name is Maggie. She is such a great farmer. And
Shout out.
yeah, total shout out. She's not in it anymore.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
But it was like a market garden style farm.
yeah. I mean, she was so on top of it. Like she had the permanent raised beds, the broad forks, like the whole thing. Really efficient weeding systems, and that was my exposure to like, oh, this is how you do it.
Nice.
It was so much better than my experience in Sweden.
Yeah.
So then I went and did that AmeriCorps position for a year. And AmeriCorps is like the Peace Corps, but in the U.S.
So what's the Peace Corps then?
Oh, the Peace Corps is a U.S. program where you get to...
Both of them are Peace Corps.
Yeah. You go to a foreign country, usually for 2 years, and work on some kind of project.
I was like building housing and things like that, right?
It can be a bunch of different things. But AmeriCorps is kind of like the domestic version of that. And you're paid like poverty wages to
help.
To help.
Yeah. So super cool program.
It was great. I honestly kind of wish that it were mandatory.
Yeah.
I think our country would be a lot better for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Interesting.
I agree. And that would be possible as a policy to
Totally.
imagine it.
Yeah, totally.
You think the current administration would be in favor of that?
Yeah, they'll be, let's go to Greenland and do
Let's help
let's do a
people.
project in Greenland.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
But it was like a total, they had a BCS. It was an opportunity just to get to screw around with like no consequences financially.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, and it was well run.
Well, it was just me.
Oh, it's just you. Okay,
Yeah.
when you were running
Yeah,
your own.
I was
okay.
making the decisions.
Yeah,
it was
nice.
I wouldn't say it was well run. It was okay.
It's okay. So by the time you get to decide to be
Yeah.
on your farm, you have 3-4 years of experience. Like
Yep.
you kind of know what you're doing at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah. And like that whole AmeriCorps year, like I was just reading and visiting farms, and I joined a mentor program that Moses, it's Marble Seed now puts on.
Yeah.
And that was the mentor that, like, I had the idea, okay, I'm going to start the farm when I move back to Michigan. And I knew I was going to go start grad school because it was a paid position offered to me. And I wanted to move back. And I was like, okay, this is a job. It was in forestry or forest ecology.
Oh, yeah.
Something that I had never, like, I didn't know anything about.
Don't talk about that because Chris is going to go on and on.
Oh, yeah.
And he
Might
loves
hijack-
that stuff.
Might hijack the
Yeah,
conversation.
he loves that stuff.
It was so interesting. I had a great time. But I knew I wanted to start the farm at the same time. But I had like summer research to do,
Okay.
like field research. And so I couldn't
Do both.
do both. I couldn't run
Summer research and start a farm at the same time. Impossible.
Yeah. And so that mentor, his name was Brian Gronsky. He ran a farm outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin. He suggested winter CSA.
Nice.
Winter CSA.
And that was the genesis of the idea.
Okay, so even starting your new farm, you had that in mind, the idea of growing in the winter or having
Yeah, growing kind of like
for
low maintenance crops in the summer,
Yeah,
harvesting, selling in the winter.
yeah. And at that point, you had read The Market Gardener.
Yeah.
So you knew that the book would advise to do not that.
Oh yeah. I'm not always great at taking advice.
You said, I'm going to crack the code anyway.
No, I mean, it was just like, this is the only way I can do this. We're on rented land. Like, I guess winter growing in greenhouses. I was reading Elliot's winter growing book at
Yeah,
the time.
you thought about it. You wrote that in the book.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I didn't have any money, and we were on rented land, and we weren't going to be there that
Right,
long.
and the
so-
investment into a greenhouse
Yeah.
is something you want to commit to, not just try temporary. Right. So
Yeah, and also like I didn't know what I was doing in a greenhouse, so it was just obvious to go in that direction, into the winter storage direction.
Nice.
Yeah.
why is it not obvious for more people?
Well, I think it's because there's infrastructural hurdles, and the crops are not very sexy.
Yeah.
There's still infrastructure. Exactly.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
in
it's
some
not
ways
that there's not
more-
infrastructure, but I
For
think
storage.
For storage,
For
but
storage.
I don't know. Why do you think it is that greenhouse infrastructure is easier to wrap your mind around when you're
Yeah,
thinking?
it is interesting. I don't actually know why.
I mean, it can generate a lot of income.
Yeah, because you're beating the seasons. You're like,
You're controlling the climate.
It feels good too.
Yeah.
I mean, to like walk into a
Yeah.
greenhouse in the spring.
like after I finish this podcast, I'm going in the greenhouse
Yeah.
for the day to seed and prepare soil. I'm excited. It's -10 now, so
Yeah.
But so it sounds like what you're saying is the primary motivation was essentially because you could only really do it part-time.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because I want to say that probably a lot of people want to farm, but maybe don't want to do the full,
Yeah.
like 100% of their life kind of commitment. They have this idea like maybe I could do like a small project but there's not a lot of examples or people kind of saying like, yes, you can do that. Like,
Man, that first summer was nuts too, because I was still working my AmeriCorps position. So I drove up every other weekend and would just crush myself for 3 days.
yeah, working long hours.
Long hours, but it was like 3 days every 2 weeks.
Oh shit, to get everything done.
And yeah.
But you were trying to sell in summer at that time?
No, not at all.
Okay.
That was just like getting the storage
Right,
crops
just
in the
getting-
ground, weeding, doing all the stuff. I had an irrigation timer set up for drip.
Yeah.
You know, funny thing, when I hear this, I'm like, okay, that's a great, because when you have a stop and a start and a stop and you have a lot of things to do, man, you get shit done.
Oh man, yeah.
Because you have to, you're like, okay, this is like 72 hours. I need to do all of this. Okay, boom.
Yeah.
And that's really the trick,
Yeah.
to put these time caps. Because
Yeah.
people that just work all day in the field,
Oh, it's so
It's
easy
like-
just to like,
just kind of hang out and
wheedle your time away.
yeah.
Reminds me of the quote, learn to do the fast things fast so you have time to do the slow things slow.
I like that.
Chris, I
And
love this.
But I mean, it's, you know, like sometimes you want to do something slow because it feels good, like even a farm task. But when you have to do so many and it's a part of a business, you really do then have to ask yourself that question. Like, is it worth it for me to take the time to meander my way through the greenhouse?
Well, I think for me, like, it's like, yes, but you can't complain about how much money you're making.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
Or
you
how
can
much time
hang
don't have.
out on your farm and have this rural agrarian lifestyle. Perfect. But don't complain about the fact that you're not making money.
This is to me this is the difference between farming and homesteading.
Yeah, but even farmers, like some farmers, they want to spend their whole day kind of just tinkering and doing stuff, and they like that slow pace. They don't want to get forced into a system where they get efficient on things, because that's not what they want. They want to be outside and just farm. But that's great. But you can't complain about hourly wages. You can't go on and take a mic and say, "Oh, farmers, we don't make enough money." It's like, no, come on.
To me, that's the when I think about, like, if I won the lottery, what would I do?
Yeah, you'd do that.
I would do that. I would farm with no desire to make money.
which is like homesteading, which I do. But it's, you know, and there's a danger to, like, I noticed this in myself that in the summertime, I cannot not go and spend like an hour in the garden every morning just looking at stuff, because I just need to look at it. But it can mess with your brain because you feel like you need to spend so much time in the garden, but like 95% of the time, I'm not actually doing anything productive in the garden. And then people say things like, "Oh, it's so much work," and it's like, well, if you really boil down to what really needs to be done, it doesn't actually have to be that much work. But we kind of feel like it's a lot because we just spend so much time with it because we want to.
Well, it depends on the list. Like if you're following a crop planting calendar and you have this and this and this to seed, this to transplant, this to start and nursery, and like the list is long. It's like this work needs to get done. So it really depends on the output, you know?
Oh, I meant more for a homestead.
Yeah.
Like we can get tricked into thinking that it's a lot more work than it is just because of how much time we kind of spend slowly with our garden.
I wouldn't say
makes
a
sense.
secret isn't the right word, but like a key to the reason this worked, this like quarter-acre part-time farm, is that I wasn't flipping beds. It's like you plant once, and then you weed a couple times. Things can't be over.
Okay, so just so that the listeners understand, so your book is about market gardening, but doing root crops.
Yes.
And so these are intensive spacings for root crop. It's non-mechanized, you're hand cultivating and you're harvesting and then you're storing and you're giving a lot of tips and tricks about how to store.
Yep.
And then in the winter, you're coming out with all these vegetables that you're selling in a winter CSA. That's, in a nutshell, that's the book and how to do it well.
Yep.
Have you ever thought about getting mechanized and doing it on tractor scale?
I guess in my pie in the sky dreams, but no.
Has never been kind of like you're thinking about how to do it.
I think I'm kind of encouraged or pushed in that direction because the community wants it so bad.
Ooh.
I feel bad that I cannot supply what they want.
Wow.
But at the same time, I have to consider, like, what do I want for my life?
What's the difference, you think, between, going at scale, mechanizing, and doing what you're doing? What would you sacrifice if you would go there?
Well, I mean, if you mechanize, you have a lot more overhead, and you're generating a lot more, your yields are a lot higher, or not like exact yields per acre, but
Your total yields.
Yeah, your total yields are
Your
higher.
workload.
Your costs are higher. The amount
harvest faster, I suppose,
No.
like a
Yeah.
mechanical
You can't-
carrot harvest.
You need to be so big to have a
totally.
Everything's harvested by hand on mechanized farms.
Oh, you mean but a smaller mechanized farm?
To get to get like a
Yeah.
carrot harvester, like that's like
unless you're getting like
40 acres.
Yeah.
You mentioned it in the book. Well, just like a comparison of the amount of pounds you can get per hour or something.
I do know a couple of people who are using carrot harvesters on like a couple acres, but they were buying these used equipment from the 70s.
Yeah.
And they break down a lot, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if you step up to that scale, though, you can also you can't sell all of it or most of it direct anymore, and so you're like required to have the production to like get because the margins shrink so much when you're doing wholesale.
Yeah.
Like you have to have big production then to be able to make it work financially. And I think I wouldn't say like where I'm at is a sweet spot, because I only know where I'm at and nothing else, but it feels like I'm nearing the peak of, maybe not, maybe I'm like well within the range of like what you can sell direct.
Chris was telling me yesterday that you openly share numbers.
Yeah.
Can you share numbers about that sweet spot?
Yeah.
That you're not sure that but it sounds sweets to me.
Yeah.
What does that sweet spot look like with regards to numbers?
And we have your
Yeah.
numbers on our screen, which people will be able to see if they're watching the video, if you feel like referencing it, but
My glasses.
you don't have to.
There you go.
It's a small screen.
Yeah. So
You can tell me.
I can do most of this off the top of my head.
it's fine.
Our gross from our sales is about 85K this year,
85K.
which I was with storage crops. Like
And with how many acres?
that's it. So we do 100-foot beds.
Yeah.
This year we had 104, and 9 of those were off farm.
So that's probably an acre.
year-
Acre.
Next
Something
year
like
we'll
that.
be at 96. We're going to lose our off farm spot.
Okay.
So like around 100-foot beds
Yeah.
is what we're talking about. And we grossed 85K.
Okay.
And I think the reason this works is that our labor costs are so low because of the low maintenance crops. So we were spending a little over $7,000 on labor and taxes.
Wow.
And we're gonna. It kind of depends on what like what are you including in the final number? But like after taxes, we're around 45K
Net in your pocket.
in my pocket.
Which you've wrote here, about 49% is your net.
Yeah.
Which is that's something.
So happy that you're going to get all the heat that I've been getting all these years. I love it. It's like, you're making more money than I would say 95% of all farms out there. Like to make 45,000 net, probably there's, I don't know if you count, your truck and your fuel and all these things that you factor in. Well, if you do that, then that's more money than a lot of farms. That's farming an acre. And
I mean, it's a great net. Simple as that.
yeah.
And I think it works because the labor piece, our other overhead is fairly low. I mean, there is the big chunk of so we built this
The
storage
upfront
building.
investment.
I could have paid a contractor like 125K to build it, but I built it myself for 50.
Yeah. And then there's value in that. So
Yeah.
you're sitting on something that you can sell. So you're capitalizing it.
I mean, we're like all our utilities are electric, which are really expensive. Like we're paying 30 cents a kilowatt hour in Alaska, but it doesn't go over $2,000 a year for utilities.
Yeah.
It's just, like our
You're-
debt service is for this, like we had to clear the land, and that was like a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's fun work.
Did you do that by yourself? You didn't contract it?
It was me and a friend on chainsaws, and then a bulldozer and a front end loader there for a few
bulldozer,
days.
Chris.
I know it was.
Well, the rough thing is how much topsoil gets scraped away when you're pulling stumps. And
Oh, yeah.
I had this happen at my property when we had an excavator come, and I really didn't think too hard about what they might do without really trying to kind of guide it.
Yeah, they don't care about the soil.
No.
I mean, I swear it must be at least 8 inches of just
Yeah,
topsoil
yeah,
just
yeah.
scraped. And it was where I was planting an orchard. After. And I was like,
Yeah. We
Okay,
got,
so you build your building.
yeah.
Okay, and those numbers, and then you're expensing your phone, your truck, your fuel, your insurance. You're expensing when you're traveling to come here. You're putting this on the business. You're going to Hawaii to do research. You could put that in your expenditures.
I was like,
You know,
hypothetically,
your business can absorb a lot of the things that you would be spending otherwise on an income. So that's factored in. So you're making, a decent amount of money.
Yeah. And this is year 5 of the farm. And I feel like, so, I mean, this is not cash flow.
No, this is just like budget.
But in year 5 now, many of our startup loans are starting to fall away. And it's
So
like
you'll
the
be
cash
making more.
situation is just getting better and better.
Yeah. Imagine after 25 years like us, everything's the same. We've paid off infrastructure, many years ago, and then we're just. Do you get pushback when you share these numbers? Are people saying, yeah, but because we'll read this in the thread of this podcast for sure. There's going to be naysayers. I can already read them. Yeah, but there's always somebody saying this is bullshit.
It's so complicated, like
Is it?
Well, no, like the numbers are.
It's pretty simple.
You can massage them. You can parse them. I'm trying to be like open and transparent.
Yeah,
as I can.
but it's pretty straightforward.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's, nobody's getting rich doing this, but I feel like I have reached a level where I'm not like stressing about money all the time.
Yeah.
And it feels nice.
What caveats should people know? Because I know that one thing you have said is like, remember to the listener, like it's supporting one person as opposed to two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Whereas like a lot of farms that are maybe, big high production summer farm, ideally they're supporting the 2 people potentially.
Yeah. And I would say just double the size. Yeah. I think that you can't.
It does require a little bit more space in the sense that like these are crops that take more space.
Yeah.
And they're not vertically trellised and like you're.
But that doesn't change anything. You can double this. You can be on 2 acres and it's the same tools. It's the same infrastructure. It's just a bit more land.
Yeah.
Could you paint us a picture of what the summer looks like, the difference between summer on your winter storage farm and what summer would look like on your more standard market garden? Like what does the day-to-day, week-to-week look like? What are the big differences between the 2?
Well, I guess the amount I work is.
But can you kind of detail?
Oh yeah, I can.
I'm trying to help
like
people
what
visualize like what the summer could look like if you did this kind of farm.
So I don't go to I don't sell anything during the summer except for garlic scapes when they come in.
Okay.
So I'm weeding, I'm thinning, I'm planting. I never flip a bed.
You can have no weeds if you prepare.
Yeah, I mean, I
prepare
do
your beds
occultation, I do flame weeding, I do the double
and
wheel
you're doing
hoe.
no harvest, so there's no harvest day.
Yeah, there's no harvest day, there's no market day.
Interesting.
Very right. It's such a difference.
Even when I read your book, I didn't quite capture it that way.
And so that's why I wanted to paint the picture.
Yeah.
I have one part-time employee, like 15 hours a week during the summer. So they'll come for, 2 days or like 3 part days.
And how many hours are you putting in?
45 to 50.
Okay.
In the summer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So weeding, transplanting, thinning.
Yep. Direct seeding.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like the whole bed prep phase where, we're amending, putting compost on.
Yeah.
Then there's planting, direct seeding, weeding. Then we get into thinning. And at some point, they're not totally on autopilot, but plants canopy over and the weed pressure really dies down.
Yeah.
Because we're on a steep slope, we do a lot of like cover cropping and walkways and things like that. So cutting that grass and generating organic matter is
irrigating, dealing with insect pests.
Drip irrigation sucks.
Yeah. Have you seen the Sumi soakers?
I have. Yeah,
it's pretty sweet, man.
I need to try it out. I'm worried about it on the slope that I could get poor coverage one way and
that's possible. Way. That's possible. So that's what you're doing. 45 hours. I guess at one point you can also stop, do something else, go for a hike, come back. It doesn't really matter. There's no delivery. There's nothing. Planting needs to be in timely fashion, but otherwise you're just handling and just kind of dealing stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the way that I think about it is like if all the harvest, marketing, processing, selling part happened during the summer, those are hours I would need to pay somebody else to do.
Yeah.
And by shifting it to the wintertime, I get to pay myself for it.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, I want to take a bit more airspace here because for all these years, getting all these pushbacks and naysayers about what we've been doing. And it's like, it fucking bothers me so much. So people will be like, yeah, but you should get a tractor. Get a tractor. You could do all of this so faster on a tractor. Get a tractor. Why don't you get a tractor?
Why don't I get a tractor?
Yeah.
I can't justify it. I can't justify the cost. I don't think that the time savings is worth it. And it doesn't work on my scale.
Yeah, but I don't want to be working all these in my back, and man, this is backward. Like,
I mean, maybe someday when I have so much cash in the bank. No.
Or a lot of people.
What a cool answer. Maybe someday when I have all this cash because I didn't buy a tractor.
A lot of people will, say, oh, but you can buy a used small tractor so cheap. This and that.
It's like reminds me of getting a boat. Like a friend told me boat stands for bring out another 1,000. And I kind of feel the same way about tractors.
So yeah, you could, but it's not necessarily going to change anything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That's the conversations. Like, why are people so obsessed with tractors? Like I don't get it. And then since I started a Facebook group, like the Market Gardening Success Group, like fucking way many years ago, and now they hijacked it, so it's not mine anymore. But it's gone really big. There's 200,000 people in it, and they always talk about tractors for market gardening. I'm like, it's just like tractors is for another scale, man. You have 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 20 employees. You're Pete's Green here in Vermont. That's tractor farming, and that's the proper scale. But you're wholesaling.
Yeah.
And it's
a different game.
It's a different game. It's a totally different game, and it's the stress level on that game. It's not the same.
I mean, if I need help moving around heavy objects, I can buy an ATV with a trailer.
Yeah,
for a couple thousand. The one piece of equipment I am thinking about buying this year that some people might think about using a tractor for, like cultivation. I'm going to buy one of those TerraTech Prone weeders.
I heard you wanted to make one, didn't you? But
I did want to make one.
There's Rob Rock has I think a prototype of how to make that.
I was afraid once I started digging into it, I realized how hard it was going to be to get the ergonomics right.
Yeah.
And
that's the flatbed kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you lay down and your arms are dangling down.
I never liked that.
But I spend 3 weeks of my year crouched thinning, because we have 24 beds of carrots and 10 beds of parsnips.
Why don't you just get a vacuum seeder and just singulate your seeds better?
Maybe I could.
It's always that. Yeah. There's always another way to solve the problem.
I guess I've always been afraid, I have always taken the advice from Elliot's book about overseeding, and maybe I need to get away from that.
Yeah, I think you should. Yeah, you get these, if that's your bottleneck.
Yeah.
There's some seeders and they're so
good.
They're so good because now there's electric. So you can get something like a Jang and there's an electric vacuum in it, and then that singulates the seeds
Oh, even raw seed.
Yeah.
Wait, Jang has an electric vacuum
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into this.
Well, you need to go to Activista James, but you need to go to Australia to see it because that's where I saw it in the store. But it's all there.
We got to put that on YouTube.
It's all there.
I mean, that's all cool stuff.
Yeah, it is cool stuff.
Yeah.
You get to nerd out on tools, and are you that kind of grower?
I like tools. Yeah.
Yeah, you like tools. Favorite? What would be your favorite tools that you really kind of appreciate?
Oh God. I thought I had. I mean, I love my flame weeder.
Yeah.
I don't use it that much, but I bought from a friend one of those full bed with flame weeders.
Yeah.
I really
from
like
Farmers Friends. Was that the one?
No, it was from a friend. I don't know where they got it from.
Okay. Is it the tangs on your backpack or?
Yeah, I wear like a frame pack that you'd pack meat on.
Yeah. So funny in this podcast, we never nerd out about market gardening.
Yeah, we do.
No, but I mean, okay, which backpack do you have? And do you prefer this one with the tank is on the wheels or is on your back? Or we never really do that, but
not as much.
I mean, maybe it's just I can't get silage tarps, so I ended up buying like black contractor plastic from the box stores.
Yeah, you can't get a silage tarp.
I mean, I could, but it would cost me my
crazy,
firstborn child to ship it. You know?
Okay, so where you are, getting the equipment that we all have is a project.
It's just expensive. Yeah.
Can you drive it up there, or is it?
I could, but
then
you want to drive for 5 days?
Yeah,
5 days.
Yeah.
it's like our friend in Patagonia.
Oh boy, that was
5
like a
hours.
next level. Yeah.
Oh, you listened to that?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
200
I
miles
know.
to get to
Not-
his market.
Not Alaska.
I mean, when like Alaska's far away and it's remote, but like I live 20 minutes from an international airport.
Yeah, and it's
Pretty
part
nice.
of the U.S. Like,
Yeah,
it's, you know, even if
Yeah, I don't have to
logistically
deal with-
speaking, it's very far.
Important.
Let's get in. Yeah, let's nerd out a little bit more then about some techniques. Let's start on the actual storage facility.
Yeah.
So, your chapter in the book about this is not your grandmother's root cellar. And it's very interesting because I, as the romantic homesteader I am, of course, I dream of the beautiful root cellar and all the glory of it and the history of it. And yet I also know at the very same time that it has limitations. It's not going to be as perfectly successful in controlling temperature and humidity as something would be that uses some sensors and uses vents and humidity control. And you do a really good job in this book of, I think, outlining something that you like to find that information, to do it well, you'd have to just sift through a sea of conflicting information. I think a lot of people, if you look up online, like advice for storing food, not only do you see a lot of conflict, you see the opposite thing suggested: wash, don't wash, wet sand, you see all kinds of stuff. And this book is, I bought this book for a reason. I wanted your book. Like, I wanted to learn this stuff. So
You wanted to learn about root cellars because you wanted to build one.
No. I want to store my food at home even better than I already do. And I just figured finally, like a single source book, I can just read this and go with it instead of always trying to research things online. And, because I've done that.
Yeah.
And
I think I did that at the first farm in Michigan and was scared and frustrated.
right. Can you explain? Because I think some of that's right. Like the first questions, like to wash or not wash.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that? Because again, a lot of people have strong opinions, like, oh, never wash.
Right.
Or like, oh no, but if you want. So tell us about this issue, wash or not wash, prior to storing.
Yeah, I mean, you'll read, you'll see it all the time that you shouldn't wash your veggies prior to storage, and I think that's really for the context of like a passive root cellar where you can't control the temperature. If you can control the temperature, the only limit is your logistics.
Right, and the argument of not washing is, well, not only does, I guess, the dirt keeps like some sort of protection, but
it's like
also you don't introduce like accidental nicks or bruises from the washing process, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can dig them up. You add moisture. I think the soil layer does create, it's like a little mini biome around them.
Exactly, yeah. And right, if you're at the home scale, then sure, like, 'cause
Yeah,
it just doesn't
absolutely.
really matter. Like I have my potatoes in my basement. I pull them up, meal by meal at a time, and I just wash it then. And like it just doesn't matter at that scale.
And honestly, I would love the ability to not wash some of my produce and have a winter washing setup, but I don't have that right now. So I have to wash everything in the fall.
But in the winter, then are you really happy that it's already done? And
It
you
is.
have
It
another
is
step?
nice. I mean, it's a trade-off. If you wash up front, I think inevitably introducing some of that moisture, you'll eventually see some root sprouting. But at the same time, then you don't deal with things like soil staining.
Right on carrots, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading right now in the book. I'm flipping the book, and what I'm seeing is so much information about storage containers and needs, and you have charts about crops, which containers, how many yields you're getting, and then number of micro bins you need. Like, it's really there. You're really showing all the details about how to store, how to arrange your containers. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, to talk about storage facilities, I want to open this topic up by talking about vapor barriers and condensation.
Yeah.
So I say this because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, just take an area, maybe it's in my basement, insulate it, and that's it, just done. Like, and it'll be, I don't know, good enough or something. But I like how you get nerdy enough that you're considering where the vapor barrier might go and what kind of insulation and whether it's going to create condensation, which maybe people aren't going to think about. Can you guide us through a little bit of, maybe that's too wide open. Maybe I want to create the context of trying to make a separate space in one's, let's say, basement.
Mm-hmm. Well, why a basement? Because he's talking about building a building to store.
I'm just thinking about a lot of people.
I mean, my first one was kind of in
having a basement.
Yeah.
Well, so...
Or you can widen it.
No, I guess I would invite people to think about if you are planning to create any kind of climate-controlled space, that's at a different temperature than the surrounding environment.
Okay.
Look at your surrounding environment and ask yourself, what is the dew point of that air? If it's your home and it's 65 Fahrenheit and I don't know 40 or 50% relative humidity, the dew point's probably going to be in the 40s, like maybe was that like 5 Celsius?
Yeah.
If your space is going to be colder than that, you need to worry about condensation. And the whole point of a vapor barrier is preventing that moisture-laden air from touching a surface that's colder than its dew point. So traditionally speaking, or like in building, the vapor barrier always goes on the warm side.
On the warm side.
Yep.
So that would be on the inside of a container, like outside. If you were, or you made like a shed and you were insulating it to store things in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If your only purpose is to store it in the wintertime, the vapor barrier would go on the inside.
But in the summer.
In the summer, it goes on the outside, and that creates the problem where if you want to use it for both,
dual purpose. Okay.
You really got to think hard about where to put it.
So that's why you put them manually on all the pins. That's for a different reason. That's because it's kind of difficult to keep the humidity high enough, and it's just instead of just constantly pouring more and more moisture into the air, you're able to create these like micro environments that are humid for the veggies.
Speaking about that, so another thing people are going to come across if they either read your book or if they've done research online before, they're going to see that different crops often have different humidities that are recommended. Yeah. And then they're going to think to themselves, how do I do that? I only have one storage space. You have, I don't know, the incredibly simple solutions for this in the book. Can you explain a bit about that?
Yeah. So like most of your classic storage crops, like your carrots, all the roots, like cabbages, things like that, they want to be as near to saturation as you can get them.
Really humid.
Really, really humid, yeah. And you can do that a couple of ways. Many farmers just dump water on the floor. And
sounds a bit
simple,
but maybe doesn't sound
well. It requires maintenance, and I think a food inspector would probably not appreciate that. You can use a humidifier, and at cold temperatures, you always want to use a centrifugal type humidifier, which is like the misting type. The wicking type don't work at cold temperatures and high humidities. And you hook up that humidifier to a humidistat. And like one example, can I say brands?
Yeah.
Okay. Inkbird is a brand of temperature and humidity controller that I think has like revolutionized the ability to do this kind of thing cheaply.
Nice.
Because you just plug it in.
You plug
the outlet to your device, right?
Yeah, and then you boop boop boop, punch in what humidity you want. It's like I want it to stay at 95%.
Which is really cool. That means anyone at home that has a humidifier can just buy that little device and bang, you're controlling.
Yep.
Much more than the humidifier itself might control.
Yeah, and you can plug anything into these. So let's say your space is going to stay humid on its own and you want to dry it out. Put in a vent fan, a ventilation fan, and plug it into the humidistat.
We use these in the graft rooms.
Yeah. With a heater.
Yeah, with the heater and a fan.
Yep.
On page 63, Chris, you see, he's talking about building a cellar, and obviously it's a garage. It has two doors, and it's like it's a market gardening cellar. And you're talking about numbers. Let's say this costs $15,000 per year to build. What's the word for amortize it?
Amortize.
Yeah.
So you're giving a lot of details about the economics of building a cellar. This episode is brought to you by Johnny's Selected Seeds. For over 50 years, Johnny's Selected Seeds has been the go-to for so many commercial growers. Johnny's is an employee-owned company, and it takes great pride in offering seeds and tool that you can rely on because everything that they do is tested and trialed on their research farm. Out of the thousands of seeds variety tested every year, only a handful make the cut for the catalog. By the way, their catalog is the ultimate catalog. Getting it every year is like Christmas, and it's an amazing resource just to itself. Visit johnnyseeds.com for innovative new varieties and time-tested favorite to grow, and check out their online growers library for thousands of free educational resources. It's all at your fingertips, friends. Johnny's, I love you guys. I've loved you for a long time, and I'm super happy that you're supporting this podcast. You guys are the best. We've reached season 5 of the podcast, and for those of you just tuning in, here is a small breakdown of our mission. We're here to show you how to build a career that's truly viable by reaching real profit on just under 2 acres. To help you cut through the noise, we've built the Start Here course. It's the essential foundation of the Market Gardener method, giving you all the technical theory and the blueprint you need to put into practice. Get the details at themarketgardener.com/starthere and decide if you're ready to go pro.
Yeah, I can say that the one that I built is, I framed it like a garage so that if we ever sold the property, it's not some weird building that nobody could ever use. I did end up putting a fake wall into one of those doors. But the building is simple. It's roughly 24 feet square.
Okay.
It's divided in half with a warm packing side on one side and the cold climate-controlled side on the other. And I built it for about $53,000 doing most of the work myself.
Which is not such a big project. It's
no,
like,
and
when you put your hands to it, you can really do it.
Yeah, and this was with an FSA loan, and again, kind of like going back to the time management thing. The FSA has different loan categories, and I was getting this thing called a micro loan, which they cap at $50,000. But it means that you don't have to. The collateral requirements are lower, and you don't have to put a down payment down.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I need to fit under that budget.
Basically.
Yeah. And
nice.
then COVID.
You have a constraint.
Yeah. And then COVID hit.
Okay. And then what is
that? Then I needed to start cutting corners on cost because all of a sudden a sheet of plywood was $100.
Okay. So you have a 24 by 40 building.
24 by 24.
24 by 24.
Yeah.
You built under 50 or under 60, let's say, just like.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're storing 60, 70, 80 K of vegetables in it.
We put 32,000 pounds into that building last year.
And you can sell it as a garage down the road.
Yep.
And what is unique about the building that makes it not just a garage, but a cold storage? Like, what are the things that you did that go beyond a garage to then make it capable?
So the slab is thicker and more reinforced.
And is it insulated under the slab?
It is, yeah.
And is that also because something I really want to hear about too is thermal sinks?
Oh,
and the idea that soil, as much as it's quote unquote insulating in many ways, it also though creates a problem in that if something is touching it and right adjacent to it, like a concrete wall right up to soil, it if you try to change the temperature inside the space, you're also attempting to change the temperature of the entire soil.
Yeah,
in a sense, right? And that makes it very hard to, and that's where insulation comes in because it puts a barrier between the two. Can you inform us a bit about that?
Yeah. I think a good analogy is like trying to turn a giant freighter boat. The soil has this gigantic thermal mass. And when you try to change the temperature away from whatever the temperature of the soil is, you're fighting this gigantic mass. And
it's like an infinite mass in a sense.
No, it is.
Just goes.
This actually happens in the basement of my house. The people who built the house didn't insulate the slab in the basement, and we just dump heat
That goes.
Into the ground all winter. And so I insulated, when I built the storage building, I insulated it against, that warmer ground temperature. And I know that some people, when you read books about or advice about making a root cellar, like ground contact is always advised, and people talk about getting warmth from the ground. I do know a grower in Minnesota who thinking that, like, decided, okay, I want to leave a chunk of my slab uninsulated so that I can harvest some of that warmth in the wintertime. And what ended up happening is that the ground in most areas, especially like in Lower Canada and the Lower 48, is actually a lot warmer than people think. And if you're cooling a room to 38 or 32 or whatever, you end up fighting the ground because the ground is often in the 40s.
It's too warm.
It's too warm, yeah. And so he ends up running his coolers all winter, partially because he's fighting the ground.
And then the cooler is not as efficient because technically that
And you pay for it.
coldness is then getting drawn to the soil.
Yeah, because it's like an infinite sink
Exactly.
for temperature.
Well, you have a whole chapter that says, not your grandmother's root cellar.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
like
that was his line.
Traditional root cellars and
conference.
how they fall short.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so you're really making the argument that,
And it's really insulation. That's if I could boil down that whole chapter into just like a sentence or two, it's that a traditional root cellar doesn't have any insulation. And if you want to climate control a space, you should have it. And unless your ground temperature is exactly the same as what you're shooting for, you should insulate.
Page 75, is this your place or is this a picture?
Oh, no, this is a farm in Michigan. This is the research farm of Michigan State University, the North Farm.
When I see this, you know what I see? I see one bottle of wines.
Oh,
Yeah, right. It
Right,
looks
that would be
wine
like
cellar.
a really nice. You go down there, there's bottles of wine, and then you go there, you pick one, and you say, "Oh, 82. That's a great year."
This is actually an old grain storage in the basement of a dairy barn that they've then converted to use for storage, for veggie storage.
Like that's the romantic cellar.
Yeah.
When I go to Europe, I see these a lot.
Yeah.
They're also bomb shelters in Europe. Yeah, there's a lot of bomb shelters in Europe.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, and so why not a container? Why not just get a container
why a
or
container?
reefer?
Yeah,
and
I would say why a container?
why a container?
If you look at what I've built in Alaska, it's because I have to deal with a really harsh climate. When I interviewed folks in the lower 48 for the book, I was really surprised to hear that most of these people don't have like a bunker, like a dedicated storage building. Many of them are just using their walk-in coolers.
Yeah.
And it's good enough.
And it's good enough because the winter isn't that harsh. So walk-in coolers or like an insulated shipping container, great. You can use what you've got going for the summer just to like jump straight into.
You can have a
into
few of
winter
them,
storage.
boom, boom.
Yep.
When you're done, you sell them.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you can resell coolers.
And really,
like,
it's
pretty easy.
And also, I mean, just anyone that has a shed or a barn,
Yeah.
any sort of building at all, could just add insulation and essentially create
Yep.
a space that will probably be good enough for most people.
Yeah,
depending on-
and if you don't want to deal with humidifying, this is something I also talk about in the book. Like if you don't want to deal with humidifying the whole space, you can use containers to your advantage.
right, and create micro environments if you
Yeah.
really.
The key though is that whatever you do, don't fully airtight, like put veggies in an airtight seal. You want them to breathe a little bit because they are alive,
You'll
but
create
not
a mush.
Yeah, you'll create a mush, but not so much that they'll lose
Right.
moisture. And it's not that it bugs me, but like I know personally that a floppy desiccated carrot is like the best thing you'll ever eat in your life. It's like concentrated sugars. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculously
Yeah.
sweet, but you can't convince people of that.
Yeah, in the restaurant we can do that, but not at the grocery
Yeah,
store.
totally.
So we're moving on to chapter 7, planning a modern root cellar. So he's really making the argument about what to do, what to not do.
Exactly.
If ever you guys are like the listeners here, you're planning a winter project for a root cellar, that's really an amazing resource.
100%.
Thank you.
Or, I mean, and you're very generous in that you make it the book is like primarily meant for farmers,
Yeah.
and it's really focused on that. But you include within advice and like things that can also be relevant to others, like gardeners and,
Yeah.
and home people, which is great because it kind of shows you I don't know. Sometimes it's even when you're targeting one thing, it's nice to understand the other side because it kind of positions everything it's like, okay, we do it like this
Yeah.
because the other way of doing it doesn't necessarily work for these reasons. Like, putting things in damp sand.
Yeah. Yeah.
At a small scale, that might be totally fine.
Oh, it absolutely
created
is.
something and
Yeah.
it maintains humidity nicely, right? And maybe even fairly reliably. I'm not
It does. Yeah.
right.
I mean, and
But just how are you going to do that with 1,000 pounds of something? Like, it's
totally. I also find it fascinating to see what folks at other scales are doing too. I feel like the big guys kind of inform what I do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
You have to, because these guys are pro.
Mm-hmm. No, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
they have it dialed in, but it's like they're not sharing their information. So
No,
Right, and they're not taking risks in terms of like just hoping that things are going to make
No,
like
they're
they
planning.
figured out how to make
yeah.
sure.
I mean, this is a science.
Yeah, and
for
there
them,
used to be a lot of information out there. There used to be like, the government used to be giving advices about how to do this. I don't know why they feel like they're not anymore.
Well,
But,
I mean, even like a lot of my storage advice comes from a government handbook.
Yeah.
But you read it, and it's written by scientists, people who aren't farmers, and it's just like stripped of every practicality. You read it, and you're still like, yeah, but how do I do it?
Yeah,
know exactly
exactly.
what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why it gets confusing.
Yeah,
when you read
totally.
into this stuff.
That's why farmers are, great. Getting advice from farmers is the best advice in farming.
100%.
And when they take the time to write a book, most often than not, there's a lot of value in the book like that.
Mm-hmm.
Much more than when it's extension agents and research people from uni.
Well, I have to say that, like, I still have this, and I definitely had it in writing the book, like just a big feeling of imposter syndrome. Because I'm not that experienced compared to
no,
other
you're not
farmers.
like 15-year
No.
pro.
And so that's why I felt like I had to go and talk to a bunch of farmers
Yeah.
and hear what they're doing.
Yeah, but it's also good. So, okay, if you're going to be sharing advice about how to do things, this is a serious responsibility because some people will make choices from your recommendations,
Yeah.
and then that's going to impact their life.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it's hard to sleep at night.
So it's good that you do your homework and then you assure best practice that you're sharing.
Yeah.
In all my years of teaching and sharing, like I've felt this very strongly. And sometimes, like, I listen to others out there, and I'm like, man, like it's a
Well,
lot
it feels
of
irresponsible, or it seems
exactly.
irresponsible, right?
It's trendy and it's cool. Oh, do this, do that. It's like, man, really? Like, if 1,000 people are listening to you and doing it right now, are you comfortable with the fact that they're not going to make it? So anyway, I think your book is super well researched. Really, honestly, like this is epic. This is epic, and I don't think I had resources like that before. Like I don't think I've ever had a resource about how to store and how to build a cold.
Well, I want more people doing this. Like in Fairbanks right now, I have a monopoly. I mean, as cool as that is from a business perspective, I don't.
It's not your goal.
No, it's not my
or
goal.
our goal.
I feel, I don't know, there's a level of responsibility that I feel, and I feel bad that I can't meet the needs of my community. Like the stores want my stuff, the schools want my stuff, all the community wants my stuff, but like I don't have enough, and I have to tell people no.
Yeah,
So
but you know what happens in those cases? Somebody else is going to come in. And
Well, I hope
fill the
so.
void.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I wrote this.
Yeah.
You know?
And then that's what's going to happen.
Well, we need to fill that gaping hole
Yes.
because it's a big one.
Well, and I mean, consumers, or just like the general population, I don't say consumers, like we all consume. They need to be able to trust us farmers to provide.
Okay, we said we would talk about brands.
Oh yeah,
Coolbots.
Coolbots.
Talk to us about Coolbots. What are they? For somebody that doesn't know what a Coolbot is,
I'm struggling to remember the guy who invented them.
it doesn't matter.
Well,
he made enough money. He's good. He's good, man.
Yeah, that's
I know
Shout out
him.
to
I know him. He's good.
Yeah.
He stopped responding to my emails many years ago. So.
It's basically a controller unit that allows you to hijack a residential air conditioner to bring a space down to commercial storage temperatures. And it's way cheaper than installing a professional system. There are trade-offs though, because a CoolBot cannot recover in the same way that a commercial system can. And the reason for that is that the CoolBot, like commercial systems often have defrosting cycles or like heaters in their fins. A CoolBot uses the air inside the cooler to defrost the fins. And that's why you can't go lower than 32. Like the closer you get to the freezing point, the harder those fins are to defrost with the air inside the cooler. And so that's like the hard limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I did talk, like I talked to an engineer at Store It Cold, and they told me some really cool stories about the way people are using CoolBots around the world. Like he told me about some warehouses in South America where they have like 12 CoolBots running.
Yeah, connected.
Because it has like democratized cold storage.
Funny story, when I knew about CoolBots, and then when I built FQT Farm, I got the advice that no, don't do that. Buy a real compressor. And so when Modelen was having problem with our store, my wife, we've changed the compressor 5 times over the years, and that's like these guys are paid like $200 an hour.
Right, because you can't work with the refrigerant, right?
Yeah, when these guys come and they charge you from when they leave to after, so it's like crazy amount of money. And then I would advise to her, no, don't go CoolBot. This is so much better. And then eventually she said, you know what, JM, you're full of it. I'm just putting a CoolBot. Yeah. It's the best thing that has ever happened to our farm, because instead of every second year buying to repair the compressor, we've had a CoolBot for 6 years now. Yeah. It's amazing how sometimes you can overthink it.
And I think some of the new mini split heat pumps that are coming out, I just installed 2 of them in my cold room. I think those like dramatically up the power potential of running a CoolBot system.
What's this?
So it's, if you've ever gone into a home and seen like a unit on the wall, and then there's the compressor outside.
Yeah, a thermal pump.
Yeah, that's a mini split or a heat pump or whatever you want to call it.
Like we have here, like the thermal pump down there.
So you can hook a CoolBot up to many of those, and let's see. So the 2 I installed right now, you can get higher power than you could ever get with an air, like a through the wall air conditioner. I think usually you can go to 24,000 BTUs per hour with those, and the 2 I installed just now are each 36,000 BTUs per hour.
Where would you go to get information about how to do this? Like, would you YouTube it?
Store It Cold does have some brochures on how to install the CoolBot on several of these, and the brand that I just bought was a Mr. Cool DIY. And the refrigerant lines come pre-charged, and so you don't have to hire an HVAC person to come and install it for you.
Interesting.
With the CoolBot system, with the regular through the wall, with the regular through the wall ACs, I remember when I would fire my cooler up in August, it would take. I had a 24K and a 14K, and it was arguably not big enough for the space, but it would take, like overnight to get things down to like hold around 35 degrees. And I turned on those 2 heat pumps, half an hour.
Nice.
And it was holding steady. It was just like, whoa, these things are powerful. I still don't believe that they have quite the ability to remove field heat like a commercial system can. But, like this was $4 or $5 grand versus $40 grand that I was quoted for.
Yeah, plus repair.
Oh yeah,
plus repair.
Yeah,
$200, and then probably if they're leaving in Fairbanks or whatever, like leaving
by
plane to come to your place from somebody else. Okay, I want you to talk to us about ethylene.
Oh, ethylene?
Yeah. What is that? Why does that matter? Why is that always in the book about?
Oh yeah.
When you go from each crop, you talk about how to store them, and then you have a whole font about ethylene, like it's there all the time.
So ethylene is a gas that comes off of, I guess, many plants when they die and start to degrade. And the presence of ethylene triggers all these physiological cascades to start happening. Some crops respond to ethylene a lot, like leafy greens are one. If they get exposed to ethylene gas, they will start yellowing. So they'll break down their chlorophyll and start manufacturing some compounds. They start making some compounds that give the veggies a bitter flavor. I think like this is the reason why you have the advice never to store apples with
Right.
veggies, because apples and other fruits give off a lot of ethylene.
Does the amount of ethylene given off change by how it's stored and like how cold it is and how humid it is?
I'd say the warmer, the further you are from optimum, and optimum for most things is 32 degrees, the more ethylene things give off.
0 Celsius.
Yeah, 0 Celsius. Yeah, and not all veggies respond badly or intensely to ethylene, but most responses are not good from the perspective of somebody who wants to sell these crops.
And in your storage, are you doing particular things to mitigate this?
Not especially. I mean, there are like big commercial storage places that change the atmosphere in the storage room. You know, they're manipulating the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the room to like limit ethylene production. Me, no, I'm just keeping the temperature. It's like maintaining the cold chain, just like you do in summer crops. You keep things cold as soon as possible. I also, in the wintertime, cool with outside air. And so we are like constantly bringing in fresh air, which I think helps that situation. But it's not something I think about specifically.
But would that explain also why you'd have different sections in the cellar?
Yeah, totally. Me, you know, I only have two storage spaces. I think if people could have up to 5. The reason I can get away with 2, you know, I have my cold and wet stuff, and then I have my squash room, and I also put my alliums into the squash room. I compromise on temperature with them.
Because, you wrote alliums are actually going to store even better at 32.
Yeah, definitely.
Still. Because, I mean, I think most people don't store alliums in...
I don't know why that is.
Yeah, I actually thought the same thing. When I read that, I was like, I feel like most people are keeping those in not even that cold of a place a lot of the time.
I think it's because they do okay at, you know, in like the 40s and 50s Fahrenheit. But with your bulb alliums, garlic and onions, dry conditions are much more important than cold.
Right.
Yeah.
And also does how well it's cured.
Yeah,
that's
make a
100%.
big difference
Yeah,
there.
you got to
Like,
be cured.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know you got to be cured, but I mean, is there kind of a gradient of how well it's cured?
You're taking it to new heights. You're like growing garlic in temperate rainforest. How to cure there? That's pretty hardcore.
Those
like
friends,
curing in a place that's really humid.
Like
these friends, these guys are badass. They're 30 miles by boat from a small town in Alaska that's only accessible by plane or boat.
Yeah.
And they're fully off grid, and they're growing garlic and curing it. Like,
it looks good.
crushing it.
This lark looks amazing. They're doing like we do. They're cutting the heads and the.
Yeah, they were the first people that taught me to do that instead of hanging the whole plant. Saves so much freaking time.
Yeah.
See, that's the conflicting information again. You look at a lot of advice online. You're always going to see the leaves attached, and it's like not really for any reason. But then you look at the next person, and it's like, no, cut right away, no problem. Just
Well, you know, all the people that are in the master class. They know. Man, it's like all these years that I've been doing this life, I've cut the crap because I hang the garlic that way, and it's like, man, that's super inefficient. And then you visit a big farm, which is always where I got most of my information, like farms that were specialized in something. You look at how they're doing it, like, and you're like, okay, you just bring it back to a smaller scale, and you figure out the patterns. And
I think this. Don't worry, this will wrap around. But
go for it.
I think I can draw the same analogy for skiing. From my experience, that I'm self-taught as a cross-country skier. I'm just obsessed with it. I love cross-country skiing. But I waited 10 or 15 years to take a lesson. I wish I would have done it in year 1.
Cross-country skiing, a lesson.
You know, like have somebody teach me the proper technique. I mean, had I taken a lesson in year 1, all the years of mistakes and bad habits that I wouldn't have formed.
Really?
Had I just taken a lesson at the beginning rather than, 10 or 15 years in.
I know that you just said that this needs to circle
but
back.
I guess that's the analogy
Because
that
I
I'm
just
drawing,
like I've been obsessed by cross country skiing this winter. Like I've been going every second day.
Oh, yeah.
And I just actually broke a ski this weekend because it was too hardcore for me. And my wife, she's a telemark expert. She's she's hardcore. And I try to follow her. But sometimes I get into hairy places. So you took a lesson.
Yeah. Just from Fairbanks has a very established cross country skiing culture.
Interesting.
And I took a skiing lesson.
Was that where you were in Craftsbury? You went.
That's why I went to Craftsbury.
Yeah,
I probably
you went
skied
to
100K in the past 3 days. Like,
good job, man.
yeah. But I mean, I feel like you can draw that same analogy back to, like anything growing related, like just go get the advice because you'll save yourself years and years of heartache. It's like the same reason to go visit farms. You see the way people are doing things, get advice from mentors because like you can save
but
years
yeah,
of
you're
mistakes.
right. You're right. Full on. But there's people out there that can distill what's, because if you visit 100 farms, you'll see different things. And it's hard to pick and choose. And it's like the YouTube Academy. There's all these people out there showing how they're doing it, but
the YouTube Academy.
they're not all the same.
University.
So, there's people out there that have that capacity to distill and say this, in the end, this is the better way. Better in a, in a light.
I think you can say better because you've seen the breadth of what's there.
But yeah, I mean, your advice is well heard. That just like there's advice out there. Like try to.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
I feel like as farmers, we reinvent the wheel so often,
A lot.
and we just don't need to.
Talk to us about parsnips.
Oh, I love parsnips.
They're surprisingly good. I say surprising just because I don't think many people realize how good they are.
In my garden, they're the first in and the last out.
Yeah.
They take forever to germinate.
Yeah. In typical market gardening language, you say that's the last crop you want to grow in your garden because it's there. The DTM is for the whole season and they're hard to germinate.
They are really hard to germinate.
And we need to thin them.
Yep.
So, and you have a good market for them?
Yeah, people love them. I mean, it is something I grow primarily for the CSA, but I do save a little bit to bring to market, and people love them.
Chris, if I was to give you a vegetable as an avatar, I think it would be parsnip because it's long time into the soil and it develops this deep, intense taste that is very mild. Like it's deep but mild. It's very you.
I wonder if my wife's listening. It's like, yeah.
And parsnips are, in my experience, the hardiest of winter crops.
Right, they can take the most.
They can take it.
And aren't they the most calorically dense, like root vegetable? I think they're one of the most calorically dense vegetables.
I would believe it. I've read that before potatoes made it to Europe, that the main starch crop was parsnips.
Right, like if you want to survive
off
a crop and a vegetable, like parsnips are at the top, I think.
Sauteed with olive oil and a little bit of honey.
Yeah, or just roasted.
Or cut into strips and baked like into fries.
My favorite is rutabaga.
Favorite's rutabaga?
Yeah. And not because of Jamie, but just like this is the one that here at the restaurant we serve so much of it. It's amazing.
They have such a rich, like deep flavor.
Yeah. Parsnip and rutabagas, they're
also
amazing.
very hardy, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You have a chapter on sunchokes.
I do. Yeah. It's something that I grew on that farm in Michigan. I don't grow them in Alaska.
Yeah.
But I think it comes from my time in Sweden that you can just like buy sunchokes at the grocery store. Every grocery store has them. You just like don't see it here.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because they're native to North America.
Yeah. Well, one explanation is that I think it was during the war. That's all that was there. So my grandparents ate so much of it that they couldn't because it was the only kind of staple that was there.
Just never again.
Never again. And that was a whole generation.
Interesting.
I don't know if in the US it's the same, but
interesting.
So that explains a little bit of it.
Yeah. They can be an aggressive perennial, and I think that's a reason to be careful with them if you're going to bring them into a market garden situation.
It could potentially become like a weed. You mean?
Yeah,
A problem.
Because what you're harvesting are tubers, and if anything that's left behind is going to be a volunteer the next year.
I want to take a moment to ask you to remark for us on the aesthetic aspect of a winter storage farm. What I mean by this is we're looking at your website right now at these 2 photos of your farm for those that are watching the video. And I just find it to be a unique visual, the way it looks, because it's so different from, in a lot of ways, from your traditional market garden. Like it's still the 30-inch beds, and but I don't know. It almost looks like cover crop what's there because it's kind of like a big chunk of carrots, full canopy covering.
He's also covering his aisles. That's why. And that's different from what
it just looks so nice. And I'm just curious to you if you have this sense of the beauty on your farm and the uniqueness of it compared to many others. And
I don't know. I don't think I have a good sense of the uniqueness of it, but I do think my farm is beautiful, which it's a good thing that I think it's beautiful because I feel a sense of guilt for what I did to the forest.
Yeah.
But I
understand.
A friend who farms in Fairbanks says something to the effect of, in 200 years, he wants his field to be the healthiest chunk of boreal forest around. And so I think about that too. It makes me feel
all farms started with what you did.
Yeah.
There's no farm that didn't.
It's almost the same thing about like being divorced from the food system. I feel like we as farmers can be divorced from the fact that the ecology had to be kind of decimated in order for us to do what we do.
It's a complex question. We actually have a guest coming on the podcast next week that's going to talk a lot about that and the entire concept of what even really is a wild space and what is nature when you consider the human role in it all. Because if a human goes into the forest and cuts down a tree, are they destroying nature and affecting it, or are they just the same as a beaver playing out their ecological role in nature itself?
Interesting. When you go to Europe, and you visit, forests, they've all been groomed.
Or even I was just driving through Vermont looking at the landscape and thinking, Jesus Christ, this is all second growth.
Yeah.
This was all slicked.
It's incredible, eh? Think about it.
It is.
Yeah, and you walk into the forest and you'll see these walls of stones. It was cattle and it was grazed. And did you enjoy your time in Vermont? You did. You were invited at the NOFA conference.
Yeah.
That's what brought you here.
That's what brought.
That's how we captured you. How did that go?
I thought it was great. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
The NOFA conference. It's exciting to see so many young people kind of look, and maybe not looking in from the outside. I think many of them are at the beginning of their farming journey, though, and it like gives me energy to see them excited about it because it reminds me of how I once was going to winter conferences before I started farming.
Yeah,
I think it's a different experience to go as a more experienced grower.
Yeah, as a speaker.
And as a speaker, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have the imposter syndrome, or were you cool?
Oh, 100%.
100%. Yeah. You were nervous a little bit.
Not nervous, but it's just I always am unsure. Not unsure, but yeah, maybe unsure. It's even though I've taken the time to research all the stuff I have and write the book, that thing is always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
It's
Did
like,
you feel like
right?
sometimes when you're sharing to your peers, you're like, oh, these are like, it's not just publishing a book and whoever, these are your
this
peers.
is going to affect real people.
It's your peers.
And you worry that some guy in the audience that's been doing it for 40 years is going to be like, let me tell you, young man. I've been storing it this way for 40 years.
Well, actually, yeah.
They're less. They used to be there a lot, but not anymore so much. They used to be like that, but yeah. Well, it's super cool that you're doing this because the movement needs to have new faces, and if you have something to share and you've done your research and it's all there, it's all good, man. You need to share it. Yeah, it's important. Yeah,
and it's really important that more people patch these holes.
Yeah,
in the local food movement, so to say. There's grains. There's nuts. There's all kinds of like other elements of food that like small scale farming is just not quite as like fully into yet. You know what I mean? And I think winter growing, same with greenhouse winter growing even. It's like, you've been talking about this for a while and still so many countless people just don't do it even if they
Oh,
could.
don't you
which
think
is
these two
fine.
things could complement each other really well?
Yeah.
Like,
I wonder about that.
Yeah.
Actually. What do you think about your farm,
Mm-hmm.
but with the addition of a winter greenhouse?
well, I'd have to transplant it somewhere else because a winter greenhouse would never work in Fairbanks.
Because it's just too much.
Too cold, too dark.
Too cold, too dark. Yeah. You'd need to have lights, and you'd need to have
Oh,
off.
yeah, the darkness.
Yeah.
is-
You know, off. What's the word for like you'd get? You know, there's a building that has some excess heat that's kind of like an arena.
Yeah. A dairy barn. Or,
You know, something like that. But it's a big project.
No, yeah. I guess if I were in a different place and I had the experience to run it,
You would maybe do that.
no, probably not, because I'd like to keep things simple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely somebody who says, do one thing well rather than many things poorly. But if somebody wanted to like retain a summer crew, that would be a great way to do it.
Or if somebody would want to have you as a research scientist on their paid-for farm, you can consult and do the work and not pay for all these overheads.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That's what happened to me, and that was nice because I got to do all this research, but I wasn't paying for the experiment,
Yeah.
which these farmers we want to innovate and we're like that. We're itchy, we're scratchy, we want to do things, but some of these experiments that we're doing, they're costly.
Yeah, actually, we have a SARE experiment going on the farm right now.
What is it?
It's garlic planting dates for interior Alaska. It is difficult to get seed from the lower 48 sooner than like the end of September, but our ground freezes, like a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
So the advice that has always perpetuated is plant at the end of September, early October.
Yeah.
And I think it's too late.
Can I tell you about Heirloom, the crop planning software?
Yeah.
It has built-in DTM AI generated according to where you are and all the records of where you are that are known.
Mm-hmm.
And it can tell you planting dates, if it's the DTM, it's dynamic. And so far, we've had 3 guys work on this for 6 months, which is in programming a lot. It's been pretty epic.
Have they gotten any feedback from up far north, like on how?
Well,
it's working in that
it was released
edition?
probably 3 months ago, so
Yeah.
it's going to take a while to have you because he's really like in another.
like in a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
different.
And that's why I
situation.
think the research is important, because we need more
Yeah.
information. Yeah.
But you could go there and kind of try different things,
Yeah.
and it might give you interesting answers.
I suspect it would tell me to plant
'cause
earlier.
I was a part of that program for a little while, and there was no information like that in the world about DTM being specific to where you are and having all the database connected, giving you.
That's really interesting.
So, and it was
Connecting
funny
to
because
microclimates and
there was
all the
3
things.
young programmers doing this, and they weren't aware that this was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
They were just kind of, we'll just do this and that. And then with AI now, the database are shared and super powerful. It's about giving it the right prompt and making sure that you're telling the AI to really research this and not that. So anyway,
Yeah.
garlic dates for planting in Alaska. Interesting. Rapid fire. Are you familiar with rapid fire? It's like we ask you questions. They're kind of fast, and if you're not comfortable or if you don't know, you can say pass.
Okay, that's great.
What's a book you've read many times, if any?
I don't know if that one counts. Every fall, I listen to The Full Lord of the Rings while doing harvest,
Oh yeah.
because it has a lot of good fall vibes. It's a book about hiking with stories between, but
Almost every fall.
Almost every fall.
Or-
Yeah.
Not, many people give. You're probably the second or third person with Lord of the Rings or fantasy, just fiction. A lot of people.
I think an ecological book.
It doesn't need to be ecological. You can.
Well, no, but I've been thinking about a book that really inspired me, and I think was like one of the triggers that led me to do what I do today is Sand County Almanac by Alden Leopold.
Okay. Yeah, I've read it as well more than once.
Because it's especially special to me because I'm from Wisconsin and lived in those environments. So just the land ethic and
Yep.
Aldo.
What's advice you heard when you were really young, but you didn't appreciate until much later in life?
Boy. Maybe I'm coming to appreciate taking care of my body. I think a lot of people gave me that advice when I was just getting started in farming.
Why didn't you heed it then?
Oh, because you're bulletproof. You know,
Yeah,
it's
you're a
like you're
machine.
in your 20s.
Yeah, you're in beast mode.
I can't do what I did then anymore.
How old are you now?
35.
Oh, well,
Okay.
Yeah.
you know,
I can't do what I did at 25 without feeling it a little more.
most of the most amazing things that I've seen on farms is people in their 70s and 80s still
isn't that
still
awesome?
farming, still market gardening, and I've seen a lot of them. It's just being on. It's like running a marathon. It's like you're just kind of on pace. You're not overdoing it. You're just steady, you know?
When we were in our 20s, my wife and I took a trip. One of our friends had been in the Peace Corps in Oaxaca, Mexico. And he had this gig set up with these farmers there that he would bring down a bunch of free labor and then bring back green coffee beans.
Nice.
And so we went down and picked coffee beans for 3 weeks on this farm. And many of the farm plots were like, you know, an hour hike up or down a mountain, and you were carrying, you know, like a lot of heavy loads to do this. And the farmer was like in his late 60s, and that guy was way fitter than any of us. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I want to be like him.
Yeah. Well, you know, I told that story last time I was on the podcast with you, Chris. Like that was my first encounter of peasant lifestyle. Was on a
coffee farm?
Coffee farm, and we were staying with these couples that were in their late 70s or late 60s. And Oswaldo was going hiking, picking beans all day, coming back, having his little coffee. This little hut is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And his wife was there. They were smiling. They were happy. They had no gadgets, just like we live in a troubled world, my friend. Everything that we have, all this abundance is actually it's not mandatory to be happy. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And your advice, it makes me think like the question we need to ask ourselves is what's the difference between back breaking work and back building work in a way? Like,
Yeah.
what is actually the level of stress that's making you stronger as opposed to hurting you?
I'll tell you what, my back is a lot stronger now than it was at 25.
Yeah.
Well, it's just dosage. I mean, I have
Yeah.
a background in exercise science.
Yeah.
It's all just dosage. Stress is good for you right now. Too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
What's a place that has shaped you as much as any person has?
It definitely is Sweden. Yeah, my time there was
Okay. Let's see, kind of like
transformational.
Well, it makes sense. You're in Alaska, and I have a feeling that partly related to that was, well, Sweden was pretty nice. Maybe Alaska will give me something.
Had it not been for my wife, I wouldn't have come back. I wasn't married at the time, but
Yeah.
I had the thought like, well, I've got money in my bank account, and maybe I can just stay. I had family there. You know, I got to meet a lot of them, and really get to know them, and develop those relationships with the farmers. And yeah, it's just the ethic of that culture. I think it contrasts so well with the United States. Like, have you ever heard of every man's right?
Yeah, like the land rights of being
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have.
Do you know of it?
No.
It's I suppose it's not unspoken, but it's a rule that you can walk and hike on anybody's land and forage mushrooms and pick berries, so long as you're not like camping or going within sight of their house. It's just like a societal trust that exists with everybody.
A commons idea.
Yeah.
And that's a super big topic and deep topic is the idea of commons and shared space. And we do not have it.
No, it's I have been yelled off many a property.
What are people not talking about enough?
I guess it's maybe getting paid for what you're worth. I guess this has been on my mind since last week. I was listening to an interview with, not to get political. This is not intending to get political.
That's all right.
We'll veer away from it. But it was an interview with somebody who was in support of the immigration crackdowns happening in the U.S. And their perspective, they ran a masonry business. And from their perspective, they felt like the migrant labor was, not the migrant labor, but the result of the migrant labor was undercutting their business because the businesses hiring those people were paying them nothing and therefore able to underbid him all the time. But the only reason that could happen is because we treat, this section of the population like they're worth nothing.
Yeah, exploitation.
Yeah. And I think that farmers get that often because of the subsidizing in the food system. We've just come to undervalue food. And
you're making a really deep connection between these things, but I like it.
Well, it's I don't know.
Because all the food is picked by migrant workers.
Yeah.
Like California.
The only reason it's possible are cheap prices. That is how it's possible.
Right.
Is exploiting other people.
Yeah. It's not just machines, it's people.
Yeah.
And that goes for a lot of things.
But, then I found myself asking what I thought was a dumb economic question, was like, well, how is it possible to fully value everybody's labor? Because it feels like there's not enough money in the economy. Is it getting swept all up to the top?
Yeah, you take middlemen's off. There's a lot of, that's probably 101 economics, but
Well, that's what we do, right?
Yeah. We showcase an alternative, which is a real, like the numbers that you shared today, they're real.
Yeah.
Even if it's small, it's still there. Times 1 million farms. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But billionaires are a problem.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. Chris, when you say that, like one thing I would add is like, perhaps, but they're not the main problem, because it's too simplistic to think that they're the problem. It's just like, if you tax them, it doesn't change anything. Like the structural inherent problems, they're still there,
Well, yeah, structure is what creates it. But anyway, that's it.
We should have a podcast about that.
Well, all I ever like to say is do you know about the difference between a billion and a million? Like the very various ways people quantify it so that people can visualize it. You ever heard of any of these? My favorite is seconds.
Give me one.
1 million seconds is it's like 32 days, and 1 billion seconds. Or no, I think 1 million seconds is 11 days, and 1 billion seconds is 33 years.
You're looking at it that way.
Wow.
When you look at it that way, you're like,
yeah.
Okay, they're not just a little bit more. Like this is anyway.
No, I think okay. I'm getting it. Like a billionaire is differently something. It's not just millionaires, it's billionaires.
And then multi-billion. A couple hundred billion. Think about that.
If they would pay 50% income tax, then the more the merrier.
Yeah.
I guess exponents
that would be
collapse.
It's like 1,000 years versus 11 days if we're talking about hundreds of billions
Yeah.
in seconds. Anyway, that's why I always find that very eye-opening when you quantify it in something we can understand.
Yeah.
It blows the mind. Anyway.
Yeah.
Next question.
What's a great difficult decision you've had to make in your life that at the time felt like a disaster but turned out for the best in the end?
There was a point in time, I wasn't married yet. There was a point in time when I was coming back from Sweden and Danielle was coming back from Alaska that I wanted to go back to Sweden.
Yeah.
And I almost went. I just abandoned the relationship, chose the place over her.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, my family kind of browbeat me at the time. And there was eventually a reckoning where I needed to decide for myself, but the eventual decision to stay with her and create a life together was the best thing I've ever done.
Good. We like love stories.
job.
I love love stories. You know that in my lifetime, it's good to have these kind of heartbreaks about places. Like I've always wanted to live in France,
Yeah.
and it's not happening.
Yeah.
And it's a feel good little thing in my heart there, and I like thinking that.
Yeah.
But it's just okay. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen, but it's still, you have this thing with Sweden.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to have that.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to teach my daughter Swedish. So with the hope that maybe
Just
someday
English
she'll want to go.
backwards, right?
It's just a permutation of English.
There's a really good joke, which is that it kind of sounds like English recorded going backwards.
That's
Some
interesting.
people
I've
say.
never heard that.
I don't know. It's Swedish people are probably what?
I was there. I was in, was it Malmo? And I was there like 2 years ago at a conference at the university. Man, it was something, and it was glorious. And it's just like the cultural, what's the word? Like people seem to be so well educated, so nice, so together. And just it has something like that. It feels like really good there.
I also kind of found that the Swedish culture values, I guess what you would consider like more trades jobs. They value them societally different than we do
Craftsmanship.
here. Yeah, craftsmanship. It's like they value being artisans and craftsmen.
Yeah.
It was refreshing.
It's respected.
It's respected. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's respected here.
Yeah. It could be more.
It could be more.
Could be more, but you still have a lot of.
You're like, oh, they're just a plumber. Oh, they're just an electrician. Oh, they're just a contractor. Not that I think, like, I don't know. I've had to train myself not to think like that. But it's like,
there's been an arc of history that has sent our culture in that direction.
I think it has to do with all the new developments, guys. It's like building new houses all the time. The plumber just feels like he's just like, but when it's all old houses and then he's coming to fix your old house and it's only old houses that are out there, then it's different. It's like, it's the aspect that we can always build something new here.
Yeah.
That kind of breaks the little magic.
Which is very different from a lot of Europe and other places where they're really holding on to the old things.
Exactly. So repairing is part of it.
Yeah.
Here it's just like, it's like bulldoze it, build a new, it's like a new development. Anyway.
Yeah. Final question. What is something else you're interested in, totally different, that either might surprise people or is just an interesting thing that lights you up?
It lights me up, something that I'm really interested in. My wife got me into contra dancing.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, nice. We have some good traditional dance here at Christmas for the Christmas Eve. We actually hosted myself, my wife, and 2 other people put it together in our town, in the church, like this old, beautiful church, which is not used anymore. It's just a beautiful building. We had a potluck Christmas Eve dinner, like classic old village Christmas with traditional dance.
That's amazing.
Everyone, and it was amazing. I mean, it was the best Christmas Eve of my life.
It fosters such an intense feeling of community.
Yeah.
Really
Do you self-reflect a bit? It's a bit kish and what's kitten in English? Like
Like cheesy.
cheesy. You feel it's cheesy or not?
I think from the outside I thought it would be, but then I did it.
looks-
And
It's fun.
Yeah. Wholesome, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I don't know, I've become interested in the music. Like I play mandolin and guitar, and I don't have the chops yet to be part of a contra dance band, but maybe someday.
You guys have a lot of things together.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it, man. The book is out there. It's called Beyond the Root Cellar. It's published by Chelsea Green. It's good work, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Inviting all the readers, all the listeners out there to get the book, to read it. If you're into all of this, this is the go-to, in my opinion. And really appreciate you making the trip down to see us.
Thanks.
Yeah, this
so
was a
much.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that's it for this week, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give us comments. We do read them, as you've heard today. I don't respond to all of them, but we do read them. And we hope to have some amazing guests coming up next time around. This is it for us for this week. See you later, guys. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. These are important conversations.
And we're really excited to have them and to share them with everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to it, download the episodes, and please rate them. It makes a difference for us. We want to know what you think about these conversations. They're important. Check out the work that we do at the Market Gardener Institute. You can check out our website, themarketgardener.com. Our mission is to multiply the number of small ecological farms around the world. And we do this by offering training, online courses to new aspiring farmers, but also to seasoned growers. We're helping them take it to the next level. So you can check out the work that we do. You can follow us on social media. You can sign up to our newsletter to get a lot of freebies about gardening, farming, but also about how small-scale farming is changing the world. And that's really what we're all about, and that's really what this is all about. So again, thank you for tuning in. Super excited that you guys are on board. We are changing the world.